Your love and support is all I need.
Honey, you've got that. You've got that.
I mean, I've always had a really crazy imagination. So like when I was a kid, like I even convinced my teacher I went to Japan over the summer or to China or something.
Why did you convince your teacher you had gone to another country?
It was just like what you did over the summer. And I was like, oh, well, to China. You're still right. She actually believed it. I was really convincing.
So you're a smart dude. Yeah.
It was amazing. Parent teacher conference. I said, so how's China? What? Nope.
Like when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like she wasn't here, kids weren't here. I have no idea like where they went, and it's just earth shattering. I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from. If she's vanished, like I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
Where'd you get that shirt?
Oh, this is I think she got it off Amazon, but this is my favorite college sports team. I like these shirts a lot.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of good letters from people, just like people of support. So.
Oh, honey, you don't know how much support you had out here. So many people supported you. So many still support you. But this is what you want?
Yeah, this is my decision. This is what I'm gonna do. Now this nightmare has to be over for everybody.
No. You have to remember we're strong.
I know. This is my decision, though.
But don't ever confess to something you didn't do.
I know, but this is my decision, though. This is all me, okay? I was not pressured into anything. This is my decision.
Okay. I've been the service on Sunday. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. Everything was decorated so nicely for Halloween, and we had crosses made for each of them. And I had bought a CD player at Walmart, and and they put the CD in, and it kept skipping and it kept skipping and kept skipping. And so they sang the song without the CD. And then the second CD they put in, it was skipping and skipping and skipping. And Monica said, okay, that's little Cece. She is over there messing with that CD right this minute. And then an eagle flew over the gravesite. And,
really?
Yeah, and it was, and the pictures that we took, they were, they had a ray of sunshine in each picture of all of them, and it was a nice service. Everyone attended.
The camera opens on a trembling voice, soft, tired, and haunted by disbelief. I never imagined he would do something like this, says Cindy Watts, the mother of a man now infamous around the world. Her words are drenched in sorrow and confusion, as if speaking them out loud might somehow undo the horror that unfolded in August 2018. To her, Chris Watts wasn't a killer. He was her little boy, the quiet one, the obedient one, the son who never talked back, never broke the rules, never caused trouble. He was, as she would later tell interviewers, the perfect son. But perfection is a mask that can hide the darkest truths. In the summer of 2018, the mask shattered. News broke from Frederick, Colorado, a pregnant woman, Shanann Watts, and her two young daughters, Bella and Celeste, were missing. Within days, their smiling faces flooded every TV screen, every newsfeed, every heart that still believed family was sacred. And standing before the cameras, pleading for their return, was the man everyone believed to be the heartbroken husband and father, Chris Watts. But behind those blank eyes, behind the steady voice and folded arms, something monstrous lurked. When the truth came out, when the world learned that Chris had killed them all, Cindy's world imploded. Her mind wrestled with a question she would never escape. How could the boy who never rebelled, the son who hugged her goodnight, become a murderer? In the quiet moments after the cameras stopped rolling, she said softly, "I still can't believe it. I still think he's my baby." But mothers can't always see the darkness growing behind their children's eyes. Long before the world saw Chris Watts as a monster, his mother, Cindy Watts, saw him as the pride of her life. To her, he was quiet, thoughtful, and easy to raise, the child who followed rules without question, who smiled politely, who never brought home trouble. While other kids tested limits, Chris stayed safely within them. He was shy, soft-spoken, and careful, too careful, perhaps. He avoided confrontation, preferring silence over conflict. If he was angry, he hid it. If he was hurt, he buried it. He didn't fight. He didn't talk back. He just smiled, and obeyed. Cindy described him as the kind of son every mother dreams of having. He loved cars, sports, and family dinners. He called home often, visited when he could, and always seemed gentle. But as time went on, that obedience, that relentless need to please, became something else entirely. When he met Shanann Watts, Cindy noticed the change. Shanann was outspoken, driven, confident, everything Chris wasn't. At first, Cindy said she tried to like her. But the two clashed quickly. Cindy thought Shanann was controlling, too strong, too sharp-tongued for her son's soft heart. She told him what to do, Cindy would later say. He stopped being himself around her. To Cindy, Shanann wasn't just his wife, she was the one pulling her son away, the one rewriting the family's script. And while Chris smiled and reassured her that everything was fine, inside, something was festering. He had spent his entire life being the perfect son. Now, he was trying to be the perfect husband. But when perfection is built on silence, it only takes one crack before everything falls apart. From the outside, Chris and Shanann Watts looked like the perfect couple, the kind of people who smiled through every photo, who built their life around family and faith. But behind those polished smiles, tension was quietly growing. Shanann was a force, confident, organized, outspoken. She ran her household like a business, balancing motherhood, her Thrive Health company, and a steady online presence that showcased every detail of their perfect life. Chris, meanwhile, faded into the background. He was quieter, reserved, a man who rarely expressed anger, but who also never said what he truly felt. Cindy Watts saw it long before the world did. She controlled everything, she said in an interview later. He couldn't make a decision without her. Their arguments, though small at first, became battles of pride. Shanann wanted structure, routine, security. Chris wanted space, freedom, something he had never learned to ask for. Then came the North Carolina trip, just weeks before the murders. A family visit that turned into chaos after a confrontation between Cindy and Shanann over food and the girls' allergies. That argument, later called the nut incident, fractured everything. Shanann felt disrespected. Cindy felt accused. Chris, caught in the middle, withdrew even further. When Shanann left for her business trip in early August, she told friends she felt their marriage slipping. She texted him over and over, "I don't know who you are anymore." But while Shanann worried about saving their marriage, Chris had already checked out. He wasn't the quiet son anymore. He was a man hiding secrets, and a deadly fantasy that had already started to take shape. Because the tension behind closed doors was about to explode. August 13, 2018. It was just after 1:48 a.m. when Shanann Watts arrived home from her business trip to Arizona. Security footage from the neighbor's camera caught her walking up to the door, tired but unaware she was stepping into a nightmare. Inside, Chris Watts was awake. He had been awake for hours, pacing, thinking, rehearsing. Every trace of emotion on his face was gone. By that night, his double life had taken over completely. He was no longer just the husband of Shanann. He was the man who wanted a new beginning with Nicole Kessinger, the woman he'd been secretly seeing for weeks. According to his later confession, the fight began almost immediately. Shanann confronted him about their marriage, about his distance, about the other woman she had begun to suspect. Her voice broke. She pleaded, "Don't do this to us." And in that moment, Chris made the decision that would destroy his family, and define him forever. In the dim bedroom light, he straddled her, pressing his hands over her neck until her body went still. Down the hall, Bella, only 4 years old, heard the noise. She came to the doorway, her sleepy voice trembling. "What's wrong with Mommy?" Chris told her nothing was wrong, but everything was. In the hours that followed, Chris would carry out a plan that stripped away any trace of humanity. He loaded Shanann's body, and his daughter's, still alive at the time, into his truck and drove off toward the oil field where he worked. It was a drive through the darkness, one that no one would ever forget. The Colorado sun rose slowly that morning, its first light stretching across the empty streets of Frederick. Somewhere in the distance, the hum of an oil truck broke the silence, the same truck that carried Chris Watts, his lifeless wife, and 2 terrified little girls. At 5 a.m., Chris pulled into a remote site owned by Anadarko Petroleum, where he worked as an operator. The landscape was barren, silent, the kind of place where screams would vanish into the wind. He parked the truck and sat for a moment, his breathing shallow, his mind empty. Then, with mechanical precision, he began. According to his confession, he buried Shanann in a shallow grave near a patch of dirt. Then he turned to his daughters, Bella and Celeste. They begged for their lives, confused, afraid, calling out for their mother. Bella's final words would later haunt investigators. "Daddy, no." Chris placed each of them into separate oil tanks, the same tanks he worked on daily. It was a cruel, calculated act meant to hide the evidence forever. Then he cleaned himself up, drove home, and texted Shanann's phone as if nothing had happened. By 8 a.m., he was already crafting his alibi. He texted friends. He called Shanann's phone. He acted concerned. When Nicole Atkinson, Shanann's close friend, came knocking later that morning, Chris pretended to be surprised she was gone. He greeted the police with calm detachment, insisting his family was simply missing. But as bodycam footage rolled, the mask began to slip. His tone was flat. His movements were nervous. And when the neighbor's surveillance video played, showing Chris backing his truck into the garage at 5 a.m., even the neighbor whispered, "Something's not right with him." The walls of deception began to crumble faster than Chris Watts could rebuild them. For the first few hours, he held to his story, that Shanann had taken the girls and left. He gave interviews to the media, standing on the porch of his home, his arms folded across his chest, eyes empty, voice steady. "If you're out there," he said into the cameras, "just come back." But his performance didn't convince anyone for long. Detectives noted the absence of emotion. His flat tone. The way he never asked about the search, only about the attention it was getting.
Right now it's got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's like they're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent, see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now it's just like they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened? Your wife came out and tell me what's.
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing has vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann, Shanann.
What's your kids' name?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell Celeste?
Celeste.
How old are your daughters?
4, Bella's 4, Celeste is 3.
And so, how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, what's going on. Like cause after I called her and texted her once, it's like maybe she was just busy. Like she'd just gotten back, like everybody's probably calling her from her trip. She just got back from Arizona, and I figured she was just busy. But when her friend showed up, that's what it was like. It registered like, all right, this isn't right.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right.
Within 24 hours, the Frederick Police Department called in the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the FBI. They searched the house. They analyzed his phone. They studied his every move. Every inconsistency was another crack in the mask. Then came the polygraph test, the moment everything began to unravel. The examiner told Chris directly, "There's no way you're going to pass." And she was right. The results were clear: deception. When confronted, Chris broke. At first, he blamed Shanann, claiming he killed her in a fit of rage after she supposedly hurt the girls. It was a desperate, pathetic attempt to shift the horror away from himself. But it didn't hold. The evidence, phone data, GPS records, and the chilling footage from the neighbor's camera, told the real story. On August 15, 2018, Chris Watts was arrested. 2 days later, investigators discovered the bodies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste at the oil site. The news spread like wildfire. The country gasped. The man who'd once seemed like the perfect husband, the perfect son, had become a monster no one could recognize, not even his mother. When the confession finally reached her ears, Cindy Watts could hardly breathe. The words didn't sound real, not coming from the son she had raised, the boy who used to sit beside her and watch Saturday morning cartoons, the young man who never raised his voice or disobeyed her. She sat in her living room, trembling, staring at the television as reporters repeated her son's name, Chris Watts, charged with the murder of his wife and children. Each word felt like a knife twisting deeper. In the days that followed, Cindy's world became a storm of disbelief and shame. Reporters camped outside her home. Strangers called her a monster's mother. But deep down, all she could think about was how. How could the boy she'd loved so fiercely destroy everything he once held dear? Cindy began to replay every memory, his quiet childhood, his calm nature, his obedience. She thought about the way he avoided conflict, the way he bottled emotions until they disappeared. Maybe, she wondered, he had been hiding his true self all along. Still, she couldn't bring herself to hate him. During interviews, her voice broke as she tried to defend the little boy she remembered. He wasn't evil, she said. He wasn't raised to do this. Something snapped inside him. But grief is cruel, and it doesn't allow room for denial forever.
I wake up every morning just crying, thinking this is not going to be what's going to happen every single day. It's just so hard to get through it. I just don't know how to get through it.
Tell me about his childhood. Did he play sports? Was he in scouts? What kinds of things did
Yes,
he
he
do?
played sports. He played sports from the time he was 5 years old up until he was 17. And he was in basketball, he was in baseball, he was in football, and loved NASCAR. He and his dad went to the NASCAR races all the time. Loved sports, and he was a good kid. Had 2 best friends, and that's who he grew up with, and still are friends with them today. And there's nothing nothing that would have predicted any of this could have ever happened.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing in his childhood at all. I would have never in a million years thought something like this could happen to him at all.
You didn't see things like him getting into fights? Or...
No fighting. He was quiet, and he got along with people, and he didn't start anything, and he was a perfect teenager, tell you the truth. He did not even rebel. He wanted to go to NASCAR Tech. We made that possible for him.
What did he do after he finished school?
He worked at the dealership as a service technician and was making good money and loved it. He bought a toolbox, and he started buying his tools, and enjoyed it. He was doing well.